Joe. He'll walk you through the concepts on the go. With any device you've got, see the show. Cowboy Joe. Cowboy Joe.
Howdy folks, it's Cowboy Joe here with a recapitulation of section 3.23, where you'll be learning how to handle problems that involve both constant acceleration and velocity. So that's one of the big skills, is try to determine what type of problem it is first, and then of course applying the correct mathematical relationships to solve the problems. All right, so if we were going back to the beginning, going back to the basics with the particle model, if we were to draw a particle model to represent increasing speed, remember the key is the spacing between the dots. So increasing speed means that the spacing between the dots, the distance from one dot to the next, will increase. And decreasing speed means they're far apart at the beginning and that spacing gets a little closer together. Those two examples right there are examples of big problems. So if you're a dot person and you like to draw dots when you're reading a problem to try to model the problem, when the spacing changes between the dots, that's a big box. Now this next one says constant speed. Constant speed means the spacing remains the same, and if the spacing remains the same, that's constant velocity, and that would be an example of the little box. So now we're going to get into some problems where you have increasing speed. So if you have increasing speed, the dot spacing is small at the beginning, and then they increase. And then constant speed, and then maintains a certain distance. Or you could have something that, and notice the vertical line there separating the two parts of the motion. And then the number 5, constant speed first, and then decreasing speed. Maybe you're on a highway moving at a constant speed and you slow down, so the spacing gets closer together. So those are the types of problems that we're going to be looking at today, those last two. But I'm going over some examples of problems, and I'm going to mix them all up. There'll be a little problem, there'll be a big problem, there'll be a little big problem, there'll be a big little problem. But the challenge here is to try to figure out what's going on with the dots. If you can draw a picture of the dots, you should be able to model the problem. So let's say you're driving in a car and you see a groundhog jump on a road, and it takes you a certain amount of time to react, put brakes on. As a result, you slow down with steady acceleration, come to a stop. So if we were drawing the dots, we would have evenly spaced dots at the beginning. Groundhog jumps on the road for 0.45 seconds. Those dots are still evenly spaced. So we're still moving at 25 meters per second during that 0.45 seconds. And then once you get your foot onto the brake, then you start to accelerate, slow down. The spacing gets closer together, which means a big box. So we start with a little box in this problem, the evenly spaced dots, and then we go into changing space. So that's a big box. So what you got to realize here with the little big and the big little problems is that the motion is connected. And if the motion is connected, the boxes that house the knowns and unknowns will be linked together. So you're driving in a car 25, what else do we know? 0.45 seconds, that's how long it took you to react. Now, as soon as you see the word brake in a problem, that sort of divides that paragraph into two halves, and that's going to happen with the data. The data, the numbers that come before the word brakes, go into this little box, and the numbers after the word brakes goes into the big box. And if you can keep that rule straight with continuous data, you should be all right. So as a result, the car slows down with a steady acceleration. Remember, slows, 8.5 negative. Comes to a stop, that would be a 0 in for VF. And it says from the time that the groundhog ran onto the road, what is the total distance that the car moves before it stops? So we're looking for total distance. We're looking for DF before it stops in this box. And boy, it seems like we don't have enough data in the big box to solve. We could easily solve for how far the car traveled, moving at a constant velocity. But remember, DO is 0. And the motion is linked, which means the boxes are linked. So that little thread, if the little box comes before the big box, V and VO will be the same. And you'll see problems where it comes after the little motion, or the little box with constant speed comes after, then VF and V will be the same. So at this point, we can solve the big box with equation 3 to get that DF, and we have to add on that distance to the distance from the little box. So let's solve the big box first. Using equation 3, throw all the data in there, have a couple zeros, so minus 25 squared from both sides. We have a negative 625 divided by negative 17, which it should work out to be a positive 37. Working the little box, we have D equals VT, and all we're doing is multiplying those two, we get 11. So together the total distance would be 48 meters traveled from the time the groundhog jumped onto the road until we reacted and came to a stop. Question 2, Veronica's learning to ride a bike without training wheels. Her father pushes her from rest. All right, so she starts at 0 speed and increases to a certain point. And then it says, and then Veronica continues moving at 3 for 6 seconds. So if she continues moving at 3, that means her speed is not changing. That means little box. So this one is a big at the beginning, followed by a little. So let's, what words here, we'll break this paragraph in half. It would be the and then she continues at that same speed, pretty much is what it says. So right there, the and. Numbers before the word and will go into this big box. The numbers after the word and go in a little box. And remember, the boxes, they can only share that one data, that V. So let's start. Her father pushed her from rest with a constant. From rest, that tells us that VO is 0. With a constant extent, we're speeding up, so that's 0.5 for 6 seconds. 6 is your T. That's about all we have here. And then, little box, she continues at 3 meters per second for another 6 seconds before falling. What is the total displacement? That question right there is the change in position. So we're looking for a question mark in the big box for the distance traveled there, and a question mark for the little box for D, and we have to add those two together. Now remember, that is linked, but we have enough data already to solve for DF. So we really don't need to put that 3 in there, but let's put it in anyhow. So what equation are you going to choose? If all the spots in the big box are filled in, we could choose any one we want. We want to choose one, ideally, that's already solved for DF. Like D is the average of the velocities times the time. That's easy. The average of the velocity, right in the middle of the velocity, 1.5 times 6. That's 1.5 of 6s. That's 9. Or we could use this one. DO0, VOT is 0, so you got half AT squared. Well, half of a half of T squared, 36 cut in half twice, that's going to give you 9, the same answer. So it doesn't matter which equation you choose when you have all the data in there. Just choose one that's easy for you to get the answer to the question mark. You want to choose one with a DF in it. Now let's look at the other equation. D equals VT, again, just multiply, you get the 18, put them together, you get 27 meters total distance traveled. All right, so those are the two types of problems that we're looking at today, combining information from Chapter 2 and in Chapter 3. All right, let's look at a couple more problems here. Remember, I'm going to try to mix them up for you a little bit. So see if you can figure it out before it appears. This one says this bike rider pedals with a constant acceleration to reach a speed. That means the speed is increasing over a certain time. So that's the big box right at the beginning. During the period of acceleration, the bike's displacement is 19. What was the initial velocity of the bike? There's no constant speed in this one, so this is just a big problem. There's no traveling at the same speed talk in this problem. So let's see what we can fill in. A bike rider pedals with a constant acceleration to reach a velocity of VF. So VF is 7.5. over 4.5 seconds during a period of acceleration of the bike went 19, put 0 in there for DO, and it says what is the initial velocity? So we're just using equation 4, which gives us the average of those two velocities. Nope, we got to solve for the VO. So throw in your data items. Now this could be a little threatening, this equation here, but look at it as divided by 4.5 first, and then multiply by each side by 2, and then you just have VO plus 7.5 on the right. So actually I did it in reverse order, multiply by 2, and then I'll divide by 4.5. And now minus the 7.5 from each side, either way is fine, and you get 0.9 to the nearest 10th meters per second would be the best answer for this one. So this is just a big problem, not a little big, not a big little, it's just a big problem. Let's look at number 4 here. Zach runs at a velocity of 4.5 for 15 minutes. That's the same speed. He's moving at the same speed. That's little box information right there. So we got to start with a little box. It says then he goes up a hill and slows down, and that's going to be the big box. So in the little box, we want to maintain consistent units. So we got 15 minutes. And what do we have to multiply it by? And 1 minute's on the bottom. We got 60 seconds. We're going to multiply it by 60. So that's 900 seconds to 3 sig figs. So that's a 900 dot on our data. So we have 3 sig figs, multiplying that by the 4.5. We got 2 in our answer on the little box. So let's keep going. It says he goes uphill and slows down. So if he slows down, we're starting at 4.5 and he slows down. Ooh, slows down. Watch out for that word slows. Tag the A with a negative. So we got a negative 0.05 for 90 seconds. How far did he run in total? So another distance question saying how far did he run. So this is a little big box. So we're looking for the D in both boxes and add them together. Remember, DO is 0 and they are linked. If you can remember that this data is linked, then that gives you that VO. So we can use the second equation in the big box to solve for the unknown, the DF. Multiply those two together, 2 sig figs, we're looking at 4,100. And then on big box, equation 2, couple 10 actually in that one, we're going to be looking at 1 sig fig on that 0.05. So 4.5 gives that 410 minus 200 to 1 sig fig. To the nearest 100, it would be 200. So putting them together, we got 4,300 meters would be the total distance. All right, let's look at question 5. Jiminy Zipper rides his donkey. Screamer. Through a field of green at a velocity of 6.5 meters per second for 12 seconds. How far did he ride his donkey? So Jiminy Zipper rides his donkey. What's going on with the speed here? That's really what you got to figure out. What is happening with the speed? And it appears to me that the speed's not changing. There's no indication of a change. Assume it's not changing. That means little box. So 36.5 in, 12 in, and did it get you? This is just a little box. D equals VT, multiply them together, get 78 meters, answer the question. Question 6. Sunny is training for an upcoming 5K race. She starts out her training run by moving at a constant pace of 4.3. Okay, so she's starting her race at 4.3 meters for 19 minutes. So most of the race, constant pace, that's little box. Speed's not changing, little box to start off. Then the last little bit of the time, she speeds up until she crosses the finish line. So 4.3 we know is there. The 19 minutes we know times 60 gives us 1140 is also there. So we know how far she traveled for most of the race. It is a 5K. And then she sped up. So she started at 4.3. What else do we know over there? Then she started until she crossed the finish line 19.4 seconds later. So that 19.4 seconds later is after the 19 minutes. So she traveled 19 minutes and then 19.4 seconds in the second part in the big box. So what else we know? It says what's her acceleration during the last portion of the race. So we have to find that A. So what else can we fill in? Well, we do know that DO is 0 and VO is linked to be 4.30. Let's just calculate how far they traveled during that portion of the race. 4,900 to 2 sig figs, 5,000 minus 4,900, 100 left, and that is enough. Use equation 2 to get the acceleration. So there it is. We have a DO dropping out. DO seems to always drop out. Throw the numbers in. Find that product there, 4.3 times 19.4 to 1 sig fig. We have to minus that to 1 sig fig. And then we're looking at 20. 20 to 1 sig fig. And then divide it by 0.5 and then divide it by 19.4 squared. And we end up with 0.1 would be the acceleration. Scott is riding in a sled that will get to 31 meters per second at the base of the hill. So he's sliding down here, of course, starting from rest, gets to 31 at the base of the hill. How far will he travel? At the bottom, after 15 seconds, if his velocity goes from 31 to 11. So this problem is really focused on when he gets to that top speed of 31 at the bottom of the hill, and he's slowing down to 11. So what is the question? How far? We're looking for distance. So that's a big box. He's slowing down. He's going from 31 to 11. 15 seconds we know. DF is the question mark. How far? We got DO 0. We're looking at the fourth equation. And that's it. It's just a big problem. So using that fourth equation, we can find the average of those two times 15 to 2 sig figs to get the answer. 320 meters. All right, here we go. Last problem, number 8. So we're at the top of a hill. We have a bike. We're going to coast down that hill. Of course, we're starting at rest, and we are increasing our speed. That means big box. Then when you get to the bottom, you maintain a certain speed for a certain distance. So that's the little box. Let's look at the big box. You coast down, starting at rest, increasing your speed at an acceleration of 2. That's positive, speeding up. And you get to 18. So when you get to the bottom, you maintain 18. 18 stays the same, little box. Put your 18 in there. How long did you do this? 60 seconds. Question is, how far did you go from the time you left top of the hilltop? So we're looking for our D's again for this problem. On the left, the big box, we can use equation 3. Put in our data. Anything tricky here? You square the 18 divided by 4, it looks like, get your answer. Get 81. On the right, D equals VT, put your numbers in, just multiply. Looks like 3 sig figs. On the left, we're looking at 3 sig figs. Put them together, that's going to be to the nearest 10, 1160. All right, so that is it. So we went through different types of problems. You got to know how to handle the little problems. Of course, that's easy. Then the big problems. And then little big or big little. And there is one more type of problem we're going to learn yet in section 3.30. So, do you get
Cowboy Joe, Cowboy Joe.